Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. I'm Mai Schulman, host of the podcast Family Law Uncensored. I am a practitioner of family and family formation law. I'm here with my producer Tommy. He will help me today by asking me questions so I don't speak to myself besides nobody else. So we're going to have fun, talk about some unpopular opinions, some unpopular topics, and some of the popular ones that I will educate you on.
Before we do, hi everybody. I'm Tommy. I would like for you to give a little bit of a curtain call. You started teaching your class, and why don't you tell everybody out there a little bit about your class and how it's going so far?
You're so right, Tommy. I have started teaching class at UWLA. The class is called Surrogacy and Family Formation, also adoption course. On my information, there's no such class being taught anywhere else in law schools in California. So we are the first ones, and I welcome everybody who wants to guest in class or who wants to take the class. My students like it. We talk. We talk about family law formation, we talk about adoption, and we talk about surrogacy. And that is a class where no textbook has been written for yet. So that may be something we will explore at the end of the class, and everybody's welcome.
Yeah, and what we try to do is, you are pretty much the authority on a lot of these subjects, especially within the Calabasas and, the surrounding areas, Los Angeles, really. What I really want to do is just kind of pick your brain, ask some questions that, people ask frequently about certain topics and just kind of get your viewpoint because, as I said, you seem to be the go-to on a lot of these subjects.
I appreciate that, Tommy. I'd like to believe that this is something I can teach, and I do like the subject. I do like the area. This is a brand new area of law. It's not been around long enough, but many people think they know it. Unfortunately, that is not true. When I speak to my students, I am flabbergasted about how much people don't know. So that is my job. That is my goal, to tell you what I have learned over the years.
Can you expand on when you say that they don't know? Do you mean just in terms of family law, or is it just, in general?
More in general than that, family formation, surrogacy, and fertility is not necessarily a favorite dinner topic conversation. It's a very private matter. It's a very personal matter. It's a heartbreaking matter for those who cannot achieve it. So that is a conversation that needs to be had. That is the conversation that I invite everybody to.
For those that listen, one of our earlier episodes, she actually went a lot more in depth on her class, and just rounding out a little bit more on the class. How many, how are the students taking it so far? How many students do you have?
I don't have that many students. It's a first class ever, first class for this law school, first class for any other law school. So that class at the moment is being taught on Zoom virtually, which is fine. I don't mind it. It's a very involving class. It's a very engaging class. I know that students like it, and I know that because they tell me so. So I'm hopeful that there will be more classes to come. I'm hoping that there will be more people to take this class, and I'm hoping to be able to engage a better audience and a bigger audience for us to talk about the topic.
You'll be great. You're going to crush it. Today, I think we're going to talk a little bit about the impact of social media on family law cases. How would you say that social media has changed the landscape of family law and family law cases?
Tommy, it's a very difficult turf to cover. And what I mean by that is social media is not necessarily your friend. And I know that I am on social media. This podcast is going to be on social media. It has been on social media. I know that I have gained some new viewers to my podcast. However, if it's not used for the right purpose, it could hurt you in the family law case, in the family formation case. So I'm very careful when I tell people you should be on it. In fact, I tell my clients they should not be on it. In fact, I tell my clients they should turn it off while the case is ongoing, because social media is something that the judges will look at. The judges will find what you post.
Really?
Yes, sir, absolutely. And some of the judges will specifically look out for it, and they will use it against you if you're not careful with your post. So you have to be mindful how you use social media. It could be a friend or it could be your foe.
Yeah, it's written in pen too. It's not written in pencil. You can't take anything back once it's out there on the internet.
That's right. It's like an email. Once you push that enter button, it's out for the universe to see and listen and watch. So be careful what you do.
Now, can you explain how social media posts are considered evidence in family law cases?
Social media posts can be considered evidence in family law cases because if a party to the case is able to find your post, is able to authenticate your post, is able to probably even hire a forensic computer scientist to authenticate and find your post and print a copy of it or an image of it, it can be used as evidence. It could be used as evidence against you, which is something you want to really avoid. You don't need any negative publicity in your family law case. Trust me on this one. The judges will use it against you.
Now, what type of social media content are we talking that would be used against you in court?
We're talking about IG, we're talking about Instagram, we're talking about Messenger, we're talking about Facebook, we're talking about even WhatsApp messages. People have this notion that WhatsApp messages are protected because they are somehow cannot be uncoded. That is not necessarily true. WhatsApp messages can be subpoenaed. The provider of WhatsApp messages can be compelled to provide your information, and your WhatsApp messages can be decoded. So be careful again. I'm not sure who is giving you legal advice, but people who do, they need to know what they're talking about.
And just piggybacking off that, what are some misconceptions that people have about social media in a divorce or a custody case?
The common misconception is that social media is protected or cannot be found, and that is not true. Everything you post on social media, once you hit Google Universe, once you hit Internet Universe, it is up for grabs. It can be and it will be discovered. So be careful, be mindful, be cognizant of the fact that everything you put out there in the universe can and will be used against you, if not for you.
Specifically, what about child custody decisions? Could social media have any impact or any effect on that?
Absolutely. 100% in custody cases more than anything else. If you post negative comments about your former spouse, your current spouse, your life partner, the parent of your children, if you post pictures that are vulgar, considered to be abusive, it will be used against you. So once again, social media cannot and should not be your tool in legal battle.
Now, knowing, in your experience, what would you say in terms of the percent, like how big of an impact does social media typically have on one of these cases? How much does a judge weigh on that or take it into consideration when he, oversees these cases?
I'm not sure I can give you a percentage wise, but remember that for example, in domestic violence cases, the burden of proof is the preponderance of the evidence. In layman's terms, that means you have to convince the judge that it is more likely than not that something that occurred. So if you are going to use social media posts, the judge may be persuaded by the posts. So as a totality of the evidence, if the posts are something that judge will look at, it may sway the judge's opinion about what may have occurred. So you will have met your burden of the preponderance of the evidence.
I see. So just for an example, let's say it was a custody case or a divorce case, and I'm saying I have no money. I don't have any money. And then he looks at my social media and he sees me flashing a lot of money. That could definitely come back to haunt me and affect the judgment in the case.
It will definitely come back to haunt you if you flash money on the camera and saying, I have this cash, she will never find it. Or I bought this new boat and I will never tell him about this. Yes, it will come back into the case. The other side will certainly use it, and you will be a fool for having posted it on social media.
And what about, we all know them, the people that overshare, the people that share their personal lives or their custom battles on social media and take that type of, interaction to social media. What kind of effect does that have?
That'll have the same effect as anything else you post on social media. You have to be smart about information you allow others to see. If you want people to see your new boat, it's fine. If you want people to see your new car, it's fine. And if you like to be more discreet, you will probably do yourself a good service by not disclosing all that information on social media. Because remember, you don't know who is looking. You never know who is watching. You never know who is listening. Discreet appearances, discreet approach is always a better course of action.
Now, assuming you're preparing to file for divorce, what steps should you take to protect your social media accounts?
The best advice I can give you, disconnect your social media. Just go off the grid.
Really? Okay.
You don't want the universe to know what you're doing. You don't want the universe to gossip about you. You don't want the universe to speculate about what you're going to file. That is not what social media is for. Social media is for you to exchange pictures with your friends, maybe post a picture of your new puppy. But that's what also social media should be doing. Social media should not be a tool to gather evidence in your law cases.
Is there a difference in the evaluation of credibility of social media evidence compared to, traditional evidence?
I'm not sure that there's a difference in evaluating the evidence. Evidence is evidence. How you get evidence, that's a different question. And if you're going to be a fool by posting pictures you should not be posting, that's on you. You want to play cards against you, the deck will be stuck against you, but that's your fault. So depending on what you do, depending on how you do it, just be ready to face the consequences.
We talked a lot about consequences. Is there any, positives to social media that can actually help strengthen you in a case, where there's maybe abuse or infidelity or anything like that?
I don't believe in using social media in your court cases. I'm not one of those attorneys who is looking out there for a gotcha moment. That's not what I do. I don't believe it's proper. I don't believe it's appropriate. It's not litigation by ambush, even though many lawyers use it and they love it. I'm not one of those lawyers. If you're looking for an attack, if you're looking for somebody to use underhanded tactics, it will not be me. Look somewhere else. But I'm not going to tell you that you should be looking for evidence on social media, especially if you're going to do so without disclosing it to the other side. It is not okay.
Well, I think you kind of answered that, but just are there any benefits at all to using social media in family law case, such as gathering evidence or, for child custody? Is there anything that's beneficial, or in your mind, really just shut it down and don't even worry about it again?
Well, I tell my clients to shut it down, but if you're on the other side of the case or even for your client, you can use it to gather evidence. I'm not saying no to that. I'm saying something different.
Gotcha.
I'm saying that if you are representing a client who is gung-ho about having social media in his or her life, my suggestion is while you're in the case or even after the case is finished, don't go on social media. That is not where you want to spend your time. That is not where you want to spend your life. Social media is for entertaining purposes, not for the practice of law.
All right, with all that being said, do you have any sage or final advice or final words for anybody facing a family law case in the age of social media?
Well, the age of social media is exactly that. It's the age, and it'll pass. That'll be a new age. There will be something else. We're now in the age of AI, artificial intelligence. We're going to be talking about that pretty soon, if not already. I know we're talking about AI in the family formation law. We're talking about AI in the selection of embryos process. So, time change faster than we want to. So social media, as I have said before, could be your friend, it could be your foe. You need to know what it's for, and you need to know what you're using it for or what not to use it for. My suggestion is if you're in litigation, for your protection, for your peace of mind, for the protection of your children, for the protection of your family, do not be on social media. And that is all for this episode of my podcast. Thank you for listening. Family Law Uncensored. I'm your host, family law and family formation practitioner, Maya Schulman. Like, subscribe, visit my Facebook page, my Instagram post, my family law class at the law school I'm teaching at. I'm available by email, Zoom, and simple phone call.